Hello everybody! Today's lesson is to understand relevant shape terminology. So that means words that we often use when we're talking about shapes. Today we're going to understand and learn what they mean. So by the end of the lesson, I want you to be able to define, which means say, what these words mean. Sides, edges, faces, vertices, and symmetry. You're also going to be able to need to label shapes to show sides, edges, faces, vertices and symmetry. So let's get started. A side is a straight line in a shape. So in this triangle you can see here is a side, here is another side and here is another side. This shape has got three sides. It has three straight lines that make the shape. So a side is a straight line. In this trapezium, you can see here are our sides. We have got four straight lines. So here are our sides. In this square, you can see we have got four straight sides. Four sides. How many sides does a circle have? Remember what a side is. A side is a straight line. This circle doesn't have any straight lines, so it has 0 sides. What are vertices? Vertices means corners. In this triangle, you can see we have got 3 corners. One vertice is called a vertex. More than one vertex is called, you would say, vertices. So vertices is the plural. So if you've got one, if you're talking about one, it's vertex. A vertex happens when two sides meet. You can see we've got two sides meeting here to make a vertex, a corner. And here you have your two sides meeting, which makes your vertex. Here you have two sides meeting, which makes your vertex. Altogether, we've got 3 vertices. In this square, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 vertices. What is symmetry? Symmetry is where something is exactly the same on both sides. So we talk about shapes having lines of symmetry. That means if you draw a line somewhere on a shape, then both sides will be exactly the same. Here on this triangle, I've drawn a line of symmetry. That means that this half of the shape is exactly the same as this half of the shape. It's the same size and it matches exactly. If I drew a line here, you can see that that is not symmetrical. This part of the shape is not exactly the same as this part. So symmetry, or a line of symmetry, shows when two halves of the shape are exactly the same. Let's look at that with this trapezium. If I halved this shape, you can see that each part is not exactly the same. This bit goes up much further than this bit. This part comes out longer than this part. So this is not a line of symmetry. A line of symmetry shows where two parts are exactly the same. Let's look at it with a square. if I drew a line to halve this square, you can see that both parts are exactly the same. So a line of symmetry is where both parts are exactly the same. What is a face? We talk about faces as people's faces, or smiley faces, or sad faces. That's where we've heard the word face before. But in maths, a face means a two-dimensional shape. In this two-dimensional shape, you can see we've got one face. This is the face that it shows us, a triangle. In this circle, you can see we've also got one face. This circle is the face that it shows us. Three-dimensional shapes have more than one face. So two-dimensional shapes, 2D shapes, always just have one face, because a face is a two-dimensional shape. Three-dimensional shapes, 3D shapes, have more than one face. Let's have a look. Here is the outline of a cube. So this cube is made up of lots of different faces. You can see it's made up of different squares. A square is a two-dimensional shape. So you can see there's a square on the top here, and a square at the back, and a square at the side. Each of those is are its faces. So let's try and fill in some of these faces. Here's one at the side. It's one face. There's one at the top, that's the second face. There's one at the back, that's the third face. There's another one at the side, which is its fourth face. And there's one at the bottom, which is its sixth face. So this cube has actually got 6 faces. 1, 2, 3, third one at the back, 4, one at the bottom, 5, and another at the top, 6. Imagine having 6 faces. So a face, remember, a face is a two-dimensional shape. So any 2D shape always has one face, and a 3D shape will be made up of different 2D shapes, different faces. So what is an edge? An edge is different to a side. Remember, we spoke about sides being straight lines. We talk about sides in 2D shapes. So remember, our triangle had 3 sides. 1, 2, 3. 3 sides. We don't call these edges. We talk about edges in 3D shapes. So if we take a look at this cube, which is a 3D shape, and we can see our faces here that we've just spoken about. An edge is a side that joins faces together. So you can see that this is an edge because it's joining these 2 faces together. This is an edge because it's joining these 2 faces together. This is an edge because it's joining this face and the one at the bottom together. Okay, so in a 2D shape, you have sides, and in 3D shapes, you have edges. Okay, so now we've been through all these terms, I want you to write down a little mini dictionary in your learning journal and write down what each of these words mean. Write it in your own words and try to explain it from what I've shown you. If you need to draw a picture to help you explain, that's fine. So remember, you're writing down what a side is, what a vertex is, or vertices, what a symmetry is, or a line of symmetry, what a face is, and what an edge is. So pause the video now and write out your mini maths dictionary. Okay everybody, now that you've written out your mini maths dictionary, you have shown that you can define the terms sides, edges, faces, vertices and symmetry. You've defined those because you've explained what they mean. You've said what they are. So now what we need to do is label shapes to show them so that you can really prove that you understand what those words mean. Let me show you how you can do that. So for each shape, I'm going to start off by writing the words out so that I don't forget to label each shape with every word. So I'm going to start with side. So now that I've got all my words written out, I'm then going to label this shape and match each word to what it means. So I can label the sides in this shape. So I'm going to draw a nice neat line, use a ruler if you've got one, to the sides of the shape. And then for my edges, this is a 2D shape. So it doesn't have any edges, it has sides instead. So I might just put a cross through that to show that it doesn't have any edges. Then I need to look at my vertices. Now I know that vertices mean corners, so I can draw, maybe I could circle the corners, the vertices, and I could draw 3 lines to vertices. As you can see, my lines aren't very neat because I can't use a ruler on here, but I'm sure you could use a ruler if you have one at home. If not, don't worry. Symmetry. Now I need to think where my line of symmetry might be for this shape. If I split the shape here, would both sides be the same? No. If I split the shape in half here, would both sides be the same? Yes. So I could draw my line of symmetry and then do a line to my word that says symmetry. Then finally, I need to look at the face. Now the face in a 2D shape is the shape itself, so there's its face. Okay, so I've labelled my triangle with each of those words. Now if I have a 3D shape, let's see what that looks like. Okay, so I'm going to start with my sides. Now in this 3D shape, it doesn't have sides, it has edges, because each of the straight lines are always connecting 2 faces together. So I can put a cross through my sides and I can label my edges. You don't have to label every single edge, just enough to show that you know where they are on the shape. So then we can go to our vertices, and again I might circle each of the some of the vertices. Again, you don't have to do this for every single one, just enough to show that you know what it means. And then I could draw some lines to show that those are the vertices. My line of symmetry in this shape, I'm going to think carefully and think that I've got to make sure that each half would be exactly the same. So if I split the cube here, then I know that this part of the cube and this part of the cube are exactly the same. So that would be my line of symmetry. And the faces, Remember, a face is every two-dimensional shape. So I've got a face here, here and here on this picture of the cube. There we go, I've labelled my three-dimensional shape. Now it's your turn. If you could have a look at the different shapes on the class page, you can then draw them out in your learning journal and label them as I've done. Feel free to use different colours because it makes it really clear what you're labelling. Good luck, everybody. I can't wait to see your amazing understanding of these wonderful maths words. See you soon.